Welcome to the Stop Dieting podcast, hosted by best-selling, award-winning author and renowned weight loss expert, David Medansky. If you struggle to lose weight or you've lost weight and gained it back, you'll want to listen each week. Each week, you will learn tips for healthy weight loss without going on a diet, without having to follow an exercise program, without counting calories, or having to purchase special meals or products. The Stop Dieting podcast is more than just about healthy and sustainable weight loss. You will also learn how you can have more energy, feel better, get rid of brain fog, and improve your overall health. Stay tuned for another informative and insightful episode. And if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe and share this with your friends.
Welcome to another episode of Stop Dieting. Today we have special guest Terri Liggins, who has had her own health journey and health issues, and she's going to talk to us about how she overcame those health issues and became healthy. Welcome, Terri. How did you get started with your weight loss, but health journey?
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you, David, for inviting me here. And you know, there was some weight loss with that, with this health journey that just automatically happened that I wasn't trying for. But for the past 22 years, I've been a ghostwriter, and I often mention that because I did not set out, even though I love writing, I never set out to be a writer by profession, but I was forced into it when I was forced out of corporate America due to a health issue. I was 40 at the time when I had a mild heart attack. Now, it certainly didn't feel like one. It felt like indigestion. So I just started taking some antacids, went to bed. Next day, it was still heart palpitations and occasional, like a sharp pain. And I ignored it. I was 40. You know, what else could it be but indigestion? And so while I was at work, coworkers convinced me, specifically my assistant, when she would see me clutch my chest every once in a while and ask, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm fine. She showed me she pulled out of her wallet an obituary of her sister's. Her sister was only 33 years old when she died of an illness because she ignored it, put it off until it was too late. So I thought, okay, you got me. I'll go to an urgent care center. But first, what I did is I stopped at my children's after school daycare center, picked them up, got them home, got them situated with their homework, left a note for the husband saying I'm going to the urgent care to check out something that's not really anything. And then when I was there, they said, you need to call your husband because we're admitting you to the hospital. You have just had a mild heart attack, but you know, enough that we need to admit you and see about this. I'm like, no time for it in my schedule. And so that was just how crazy things were for me, out of balance for me, that I would stop and, you know, pick the children up, make dinner and all this sort of stuff before seeing about my own health. So that is why so many women at a very young age find themselves in situations where it's, you know, pretty serious. And I'm very fortunate, and I know you've had a scare where it wakened you up too.
Yeah, my wake up call was in July of 2016 when my doctor told me, based on my lab results and being significantly overweight, I had a 95% chance for a fatal heart attack. So I was fortunate. I lost 50 pounds during the next 4 months, 25% of my total body weight, and I've kept it off. More importantly, I avoided having the heart attack, whether it be a mild one or even fatal. So I count my blessings for that. So you're at the hospital and you also found out you had another type of disease too.
Right. Through all of their tests, their scans, their biopsies, and everything, I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. Never heard of it before. It's an autoimmune disease that can attack anywhere in your body where you have tissue. And mine happened to be in my lungs, and my lymph nodes were inflamed.
How common is sarcoidosis?
That's a good question. It is, what's really strange about it is that they have no known cause for it, no known cure. It is found to be prevalent among African American women and people from Norwegian
Oh, wow.
descent. So I'm like, wow, that's on the, you know, opposite scale. and typically happens with individuals 40 and over. And it was just bizarre when I started reading about it, how it just, they don't know. It could be elements in the atmosphere, in the environment. So it is more of an environmental disease than anything. It's not hereditary. So it's environmental. They ask me questions like, have you been around angel hair? Is it angel hair or something, like in fluorescent lights?
Ah, okay.
Hairspray, aerosol sprays, um, airline engine, um, just all this kind of, the gases from the airline engine, just weird how it just, but it just manifests in your body. As I said, mine in my lungs. It got to the point where I could not even climb a flight of stairs before I was out of breath. I could walk straight 3 blocks and be fine, but just one flight. So and they had me on, throughout all of this, while they were trying to detect everything, they had me on 15 different meds. I was being seen by a cardiologist, internal physician, and a pulmonologist. So
Wow.
all these different meds, and when you read on the bottle that says, if you're taking this, don't take that. Well, at one point I was taking this and I was taking that. So I said, I've got to get in control of this.
Because the
And the
medications were
pandemic,
conflicting with each other.
very much so. And so I believe, way after the fact, I in hindsight, I believe that the meds were making me worse than the condition itself.
That
You
usually
know?
is the case.
Yeah,
And then you were fortunate, you ran into somebody that uh, changed your type of eating habits, correct?
definitely. Over the course of 12 years, I was researching. In fact, I even went to law school after learning that there are programs that combine health and law. I became a proponent of both. I'm like, I love researching. I love law. I love writing. So that made law school easier for me than probably most. But uh, still was having these episodes. So I would be fine for periods of time, because in my research, I got information on getting rid of white flour, white rice, white milk, white bread, just all of did I say white sugar? Sugar is the main thing, right? And got rid of that, and I started feeling better, but I still never knew anything about this being related to, or the wellness being related to food, to nutrition, until I met this gentleman. Actually, re-met him. Our parents, our mothers, were best friends way back in the late 50s, early 60s, and I was just a toddler when I no longer saw him. And then just gosh, just and I don't believe in coincidences, and such, but our paths crossed when I was living on the West Coast, and
Well,
mentioned
before
to
that,
him.
you were living in Texas, correct?
Yeah. When I got ill, I was married and living in Texas. And through the course of these 12 years, I was divorced and lived in Chicago. So I was
Well,
eating all of the good stuff, the meat that Texans eat, the Chicago pizza that Chicagoans eat.
yeah, with all the gooey cheese, I'm from Chicago originally, so I understand
Oh,
that.
oh my gosh, yes. Then you got to love the deep dish
The
pizza.
deep dish, yeah. And also I'm a former lawyer, and so I learned there's a lot of honest and dishonest people while practicing law. And what I learned in doing research myself for health is that unfortunately there's more dishonest people in the food and weight loss industry than are honest people, which makes it so difficult. And what I usually tell people is, if these diet and weight loss programs worked, companies would be out of business after a few years, because we'd all be healthier and thinner. So that's not the case. So
That
anyways,
is so true.
you were living in Texas, and then you moved to Chicago, then you moved to the West Coast.
Yes, and yeah, I my youngest of two was going to college in California, and so I thought, well, let me just get a little closer to him. I used to live in California myself, and I did not want to live there again, so I ended up in Las Vegas, close enough, and so that is where I was introduced to living superfoods. I never was a vegetarian, never was a vegan. As I mentioned, living in Texas, man, they don't talk about, giving up the meat there. And I often joke about, we saw what they did with Oprah when she mentioned about not eating a hamburger anymore, right? So I was still eating, I had given up some red meat, but I was still eating, like, of course, the pepperoni on the pizza and other things, and definitely eating junk food. But this gentleman, he had been on this 30-year path from being a vegetarian, a vegan, and then a raw foodist. And he taught me, and I learned the science behind it. That's what it took first and foremost. And then also, I had, you know how when you have to hit someone's pain point, right?
Yep.
Before you really sell them on something. Well, my pain point had occurred a year prior, and I must back up and tell this brief story. I was in Chicago at the time, and this sarcoidosis was really taking its toll on me at times. It's stress based. It's the food that gives you inflammation. All of these things I had not learned yet, right? But they were keeping me in and out of the hospital. Well, this particular time, I was even in ICU.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't so much that I was near death as much as the it was a hospital problem, where they ran out of room, but they needed to monitor my breathing because I was having really difficult time breathing. So the best place for me for them to monitor me was the ICU. So it was, dire, but it wasn't like I was on my, deathbed type of thing. But in ICU, you're pretty much isolated from things. And my at the same time, my best friend of 38 years was in Texas, where she and I, we lived there together over the years, both growing up in Ohio and being friends from junior high school all the way. She was in a hospital, where she was undergoing a very serious surgery, and I was her medical power of attorney.
Oh, wow. And you're in
Yeah,
the hospital in the ICU too.
exactly. 2,000 miles away or 1,000 some miles away, I was in the hospital. And her message to me that I did not get because, you know, she called and left this message on my home phone. We had home phones back then. um, Her message was, Terry, they want to operate on me and I'm scared. What should I do? And she did not make it out of that operation.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. But when I got out of ICU, I was there for 3 days. When I got home and got that message, um, at that time I didn't know she didn't make it. Right? I just got the message that she's going in surgery and da da da. And I started calling and making flight arrangements to fly to Dallas. When I got the phone call from her 19-year-old son saying she's gone.
Oh, wow. Now,
Wow.
I'm curious because this is about 12 years after your mild heart attack, correct?
Yes, this was in the 11th year of.
Okay. And during those 11 years, did any of your doctors suggest that you change your eating habits or your uh, diet?
Of course not, David. So just like with the diet regimens, all the gurus with the diets, if they really uh, cured someone of their health of their weight issues, they would go out of business. Unfortunately, our medical system, they're designed to treat us, not to get us all better, because then we would not need to come back to them anymore.
So they treat the symptoms and not the underlying issues.
Exactly, exactly. And there are some, I had some very good doctors. Um, if I brought something to them, they said, okay, I trust that have researched this because I came in prepared. My doctors did not get in and out in 3 minutes with me. I was like, and another thing, I looked this up and this happened, this happened. In fact, I had created a journal called My Wellness Journal and I got it trademarked and everything so that I went there. They saw me coming with my little black journal. And so they were good when you prompted them and when you became their partner. But our system is so broken that they're too busy to just really give you all of this great information on every little visit.
And that wellness journal that you created, you did that because you wanted to keep track of how food affected you and how the medications affected you, and if there was any correlation between the two with what you were suffering from, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. When they had me on these 15 different meds, and I was, I couldn't keep control of all of this stuff, and I said I've got. In fact, one day I was on my way home. Um, when I was still able to work, I was on my way from work to the daycare center to pick up my children, and I forgot how to get there. I totally forgot. I had to pull off of the expressway and park somewhere. And I said, this is just way too scary. I don't know how people function on meds like this. I said, I've got to control all of it, see what's, counteracting this, and then get off of it all. And again, my doctor was okay once I demanded to come off of these. He said, okay, you can come off this. I'm like, why didn't you tell me this in the first place? They're not created. Our healthcare system is not created to just take care of you one and done, and you're gone, and they never see you again. No, there's treatments that
Yeah.
that keep you on.
So now you let's fast forward a little bit, and you
Yeah.
met a master chef who had been with raw food over past 30 years or over a 30-year period, learned how to cook, and he was teaching you different ways of eating, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was ready. They say when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And so it was, when my best friend died like that, and I was not there to even help her with any decisions, I said, okay, God, you have got to take this illness away from me. I'm not any good to anyone, not her, not my children, not anyone, when I'm sick myself. And so it was just almost like 1 year to that time where I said enough is enough, that I re-met this gentleman. He goes by the name of Chef Keaty. And he said, well, how soon do you want to get rid of this? He's like, that's an easy one. I said, it is? I've been dealing with it for 12 years. What do you mean it's easy? And so learning the science behind it all and how food is energy. And I remember from biology how photosynthesis happens, right? With the sun and the plant and all that. And our bodies, it was so amazing to me how I could take that same photosynthesis lesson and apply it to our body. Our food is the sunlight to a plant. Our food is to our body. And
It's our fuel.
yeah, it's our fuel. I did not know that. Our fuel, our energy. But what we do is we kill it. By the time we get it home from the grocery store where they've stored the stuff on the shelves with so many additives and chemicals to keep it alive for so long. By the time we get it home, and then we cook the life out of it and we add all the bad stuff to it, even though some people may say, oh, look, I'm eating a salad, a big nice salad, that must be healthy. No, because you're drowning it in that dressing, that store-bought dressing
and the croutons and the cheeses and the processed meats. And I understand. That's what I tell people. Salads are not healthy. It depends on how you prepare them. So.
And it's been part of the plan to trick you into eating salads with all of this stuff on it, because it'll keep you sick. It won't make you lose weight. And so then the diet companies can come in and, give you their pills and notions and potions and stuff. And so, yeah, so we learn to just take the food down to its most natural source, the way God designed it to be. And then, I'm sure people hit you with this question all the time, like I got. Well, where are you going to get your protein from? You got to have protein. Yeah. Well, the animal protein that you get, by the time you take out the parasites, the toxins, all the dangerous stuff in that comes with that animal, your protein is just not even that. It's not that great a value to you when it's stacked against all this other stuff. And besides, look at what the largest animals in the kingdom eat. Okay, the elephant, they don't eat meat. The gorillas, they don't eat meat. Hippopotamus and I can go on and on and on.
Even the cows that people.
The cows, they eat grass, they eat greens, people. So we're just cutting out the middleman, cutting out the cow.
basically what I'm understanding, you're saying it's not so much the food, it's what they've done to the food that causes the problems. So
Definitely.
explain to the audience, what type of foods do you eat then?
Okay, yes, the food is just so wonderful. I'm not just eating carrot sticks and celery sticks. No, no, no. There's a vast array of foods that you can make from just a couple sources: vegetables, fruits, grains, and nuts. And
What
then, of
about
course,
berries?
herbs and no dairy.
No, no, berries,
Oh,
like
berries.
strawberries,
Oh my
raspberries.
gosh. Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot. Yo, yes, berries are they're the top superfoods. So I focus on the superfoods and the live superfoods, right? So you don't cook the food because you cook all the life out of it. You take it in its most whole form. And so I don't bake or broil or saute, barbecue, wok. I don't do any of those fry, none of that. Let's see, did I leave out anything?
I think, oh,
Microwave,
grill. What about grill?
no grilling, no microwaving. Microwaving is the worst. People, back in the 70s, there were like 39 countries that outlawed microwaves. Of course, the United States are going to always keep it because it's quick, 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 but you're adding so many dangerous, you're turning your food into carcinogens, carcinogenic, um, like a time
Toxics.
bomb going through
Yeah.
your body. So yeah, so we take the berries and we take the vegetables and such and make full meals out of them.
And you were talking about with cashews, making
Yes.
certain
Oh my gosh.
sauces with cashews. And when we talk about the raw nuts, you're talking about the unsalted, unroasted nuts, not the ones you find at the ballparks or, at stadiums. Or now they have all these different flavored nuts that they throw all these different chemicals to make it
No.
taste different.
No. Yeah, nuts are superfoods. The walnuts, the Brazil nuts are great. Um,
Almonds.
Almonds, cashews are top. And then you have just all the kind of seeds too. The
The chia
sesame
seeds.
seeds,
Yeah.
chia seeds, just lots of just hemp seeds, just so many seeds and nuts and things that you put into your dishes. You put them in your smoothies even, but they must be raw. And then you need to soak them, soak or blanch them, and that's because they have inhibitors in them, right? Your nuts have to. It's just amazing when you learn about how nature takes care of everything, and there's things that are part of a nut that keeps it from keeps it from growing, the inhibitors that are not so good for your body. So that's why you soak your nuts. There's a whole book that this woman, I can't remember her author, the name of the book is Soak Your Nuts, and so that's a good reference.
Well, you also wrote a book on
Oh
eating
yeah.
raw. What was the title of your book?
Yes, thanks for asking. Get your raw on. How appropriate, right? When I went raw, I was journaling. Being the writer that I am, I journaled my journey, and so it was very easy when people kept asking, "Well, how did you do it? What did you do? What did you eat?" and da da da. I said, "Wow! Instead of me keep continuing to answer the same questions over and over, let me just make a book out of it." And since I already had the journal written, I just turned the journal into a book. And here's the deal: when I started eating this way, and we can talk again about the types of foods in a few minutes, but when I started eating, I trusted what I was reading, the science behind it, and I was already sold because I was ready with having to deal with the death of my girlfriend, who was still so very raw, pun intended. The emotions. I started eating this way, and in just 7 days, all the symptoms from that sarcoidosis went away. I
And
am not
they've remained gone.
to this day. I've not, returned to any of that because it just, I'm a living testament of what the food is supposed to do. And so I don't have to just read it in a book somewhere. which is why I had to write the book because the information, I took it to heart here first and then here, and then it just showed up everywhere in my body. I had had other issues going on. At the time, I was going through menopause, and it was, oh, it was so horrible. All the hot flashes and all that. That went away. I had fibroids, and I had known, by this time, I had known so many girlfriends who had, they were duped into having a full hysterectomy
Oh,
to get
wow.
rid of fibroids. Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad how, and there's just a lot of dishonesty, as you have mentioned,
Yeah.
in how to take care of illnesses. And so I did not have to have a hysterectomy. I did not have to have any of the newer laser type of surgery to get rid of the fibroids, which are just a mass. They're masses of just a collection of the stuff you're eating, right? That just forms, and they're deposits, and they're just, I mean, all of it, it went away. And 30 pounds of excess weight. I
Wow.
mean,
That's
and I
amazing.
wasn't even, now, had I been exercising during that time, boy, I would have really been just looking totally, totally fit. I was just never much of an exercise person. I always joined the gym. You know how that was back in the day. We were from the same era. And wasn't it back in our 20s? Everyone just went to the gym. You just went to the gym, probably to look for a boyfriend, girlfriend, but you went to the gym. But never because I mean, I joined gym memberships and just wasted them half the time. I didn't continue to go.
Yeah, most people do waste the membership because they don't go. In fact,
Yep.
I don't belong to a gym because I do other types of physical activity. And what I advocate is just walking, because Rebel Wilson lost 77 pounds in a year by walking an hour each day. And I was
Mm,
reading another actress that started walking, lost a lot of weight. And what she was doing was she was getting breaks of 10 or 15 minutes. So instead of texting or going on social media, she would just walk for 10 or 15 minutes, and she would do increments. And if you do 4 or 5 of that, you're getting 40 minutes, 60 minutes. So if you don't have a straight hour to go, you don't have to do it all at once. You can just break it up throughout the day. I'm just curious, where can the audience get your book? Is it available on Amazon and other places?
yes, and actually, easy enough because I have several other books too. Fix Your Immune System. And I have another, I'm doing a whole series of these and couldn't put my hands on the other one. I think it's in a book bag somewhere. But Fix Your Gut is the second one that I wrote. And the third one in this series that I'm in the process of writing is Fix Your Brain, with mental health. Um, the easiest place is terriliggins.com.
And can
I made it
you
quite,
spell that for people? Because Terry sometimes is spelled different.
I know, right? One R, two R's, a Y, I. Mine is Terri, and then Liggins is Liggins. Terriliggins.com. And from there, you can get to my books on Amazon or on my website. You can get to a chat. You can set up a chat with me. I do workshops now. I do them quarterly because being a ghostwriter for 22 years, it was time for me to hang up that ghostwriting hat and then become a book coach so that I could free up my time to now focus on baby boomers and caregivers, because usually, and we are in our baby boomer stage, usually baby boomers become caregivers by default. And what I found is that we're not ready emotionally, logistically, because we live in different states from our parents
Uh,
generally. Financially, definitely not ready financially. And then just getting all of those papers in order. Living will, living trust,
and
POA.
you have a name for your um,
Yeah, the app is called Fourth Quarter Living. And so I call myself an end of life strategist because there are those end of life forms that people need to fill out to get, what, just the basic, um, a living will, a will. You can download some forms And that's what I hope people do. But that's just the start, because you really want to customize them. And I say often that you want to leave a legacy and not a load. And I've seen way too many times up close and personal where a loved one has died, things weren't in order, and everyone is like, what do we do now? Even having your passwords to your bank account, you know,
And
they,
your social media accounts,
yes, your
your
social media,
telephone.
everything. Oh my gosh, definitely to your
And
phone.
people can reach you at
Mhm.
terriliggins.com for the fourth quarter
Yes,
app
fourth quarter.
also.
Yes, the fourth quarter living app for QL, I call it. It is still in development stage. I have a company, a technology company that's developing that for me. It's still in that stage, but I want to. I'm writing a book for caregivers by caregivers, and so I really want to reach out to anyone who's already in this stage, who has challenges, victories in caring for the parents, what worked, what didn't work, so that we're helping others. And so that I can keep you on my mailing list for as soon as that app is ready. Also, looking for vendors who could be on that app. So that would be state attorneys. That would be people who do downsizing and decluttering, because that happens with the, you know, when you're having to move your parents who have Alzheimer's, dementia, or something, you have to move them to a facility or into your own home. So professional organizers do that. Individuals who do, you know, who write your will and your living trusts, those type of, oh, there's so many.
Yeah, exactly.
Transportation for
I,
the disabled. Yeah,
I
so,
just want to get back a little bit to the food because
yeah.
people are being misled with the plant-based imitation meats and chickens and fish. What's your position on the imitation meats that are plant-based? Because people are thinking it's healthy, and I'd like to hear what your opinion is, and then I'll share mine.
Yeah, bottom line, they're still made in a factory. That's all I can say about that. You know, they make them. I've tasted some because my mother, she entrusts her life to me, because there was a time where she had a mini stroke, and I flew to Ohio to take care of her. She went from in 1 week not being able to, you know, stand up on her own, and barely able to speak. She went from being like that to just, you know, flourishing back to health. Her bad cholesterol in the hospital, they were trying to give her all kind of meds, and I said no to that, no to that, no to that. She was 80, and they were like, well, we have to give her this, because no, you don't, because I have something better. You know, we give her beets instead of the baby aspirin that they say keeps your blood from clotting. Beets will do that. So I fed her nothing but living superfoods, and in 5 days, just 5 days, her bad cholesterol numbers came down 50%. So I know over time, and she's 80, going on 86 now, and just vibrant as can be. And so there was, oh, I'm losing my train of thought where we're getting with this. You would
With the
just ask,
plant-based,
oh, the burgers and all that. Yes. So she was eating fast food. Ooh, like Popeyes was her favorite, and I tease her about having this Popeyes addiction. And so for her, she transitioned to those factory made, store bought plant based burgers. And I was like, okay, because, you know, they're better than what she was eating. And I couldn't get her to go strictly no meat. And she's 86. And so, but she's doing well in every other phase of eating healthy. And she eats salads a lot. She eats the good stuff that I, you know, fix for her, as the universe would have it. I was in Ohio for 2.5 years during the pandemic. I did not know, when God said in my spirit, go to Ohio and help take care of your parents. Who knew that just 6 months later a pandemic was going to happen, and I was there for her. And so she ate what I ate, and she is just vibrant. But yeah, I'd like to hear your take on it, because I don't do those factory made.
no, I tell people if it's not made by nature and it's made in a laboratory by a person in a white lab coat, don't eat it. Especially because when I was researching how they're processed, and all the chemicals that they add to it, those chemicals are toxic to people.
Yeah.
And a lot of our food is toxic, and people are like, well, it doesn't affect me. No, what happens is it accumulates over 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Yep.
And then that's when you start seeing all the negative consequences, because the toxics build up in your body and they're not eliminated. That's why if you're over age 50, there's a 80% probability you're a type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic. And if you're a pre-diabetic, what that means is you'll be a full-blown type 2 diabetic in 7 years if you do not change your eating habits and lifestyle. So I always tell people, you can reverse it by changing what you put into your body. And
Yes.
there's a difference between, diet or dieting and the diet you eat. So people don't realize that,
No. Yeah.
saying I'm on a diet or being on a diet, that means restricting your food intake for either weight loss or other medical reasons.
Yep.
Or if you're on a diet, if you're talking about diet, it's the food you take into your
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell people is, if you want to lose weight, don't go on a diet, change your diet. And I think that's what you advocate also.
Exactly, because it's so unfortunate that the diets are only temporary. When someone goes on a diet, it's temporary. It's a fad. The ketosis,
The
the
keto diet, yeah.
keto diet, the Atkins diet, all these things. But you can lose weight when your body is in ketosis, and that's a good thing. But not when you're on these keto diets that have you doing all this strange stuff. And I just now came off of a 21-day fast, juice fast, and it's just so amazing. I have so much more strength and just energy from not putting your body to a taxing in a taxing way by eating food all the time. You just eat, and you're overworking your body. But when you go on a intermittent fast, which is something you can do all the time, that means you're resting your whole digestive system for 16 hours. Try saying that fast.
Yeah.
16 hours every day. You're resting it.
Um, we're just about out of time. What final tip can you give to the audience?
Well, that was a main one. Intermitting. Wow, I can't even. Okay,
Intermittent fast. And what you're saying,
yeah.
because I advocate the same thing, is
Yeah.
if you stop eating about 3 hours before you go to sleep and you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, so you stop eating at 7 o'clock in the evening, and you eat your first meal, which is breakfast, which means to break the fast at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
that's almost a 12 to 16-hour fast. And
Yeah.
people can do it without realizing it. So
It's easier than you think. And then to make certain things, just make changes little at a time. If you can't do raw like me, I went 100% from one day eating junk food to the next day eating raw. And I never turned back. And it's been 10 years now. And this is July. Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah, it's 10 years. And I got really serious with it between July and September. But yes, one day from this to this, and I have not looked back, but I was ready mentally. If you're not ready mentally, at least make little steps. Make your own dressing at home. That's a quick tip I'll
okay.
leave your audience with. Make your own dressing. Throw away all those bottled dressings in your fridge, and you can take olive oil, balsamic oil, honey, and organic mustard. Dijon or organic. Buy mustard that says organic. Buy peanut butter that says organic. But Trader Joe's has it for only $1.99. You don't have to pay $6 for some peanut butter. $1.99 at Trader Joe's. But yeah, so just honey, and you can change it up from time to time, right? Honey and mustard and olive oil and balsamic. Oh, it is the best. And then squeeze a little lemon in it. Put some cayenne pepper in it.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. I really appreciate it, and telling us your story and sharing some tips on how to be healthy. So people can reach you at Terri, Terri, Liggins, Liggin, at Liggins.com. And thank you so much, and look forward to the next episode.
All right. Thanks so much, David.
Thanks for listening to the Stop Dieting podcast. Remember to like and subscribe so you won't miss a single episode to get more healthy eating and lifestyle tips. Motivate and inspire others to be healthy by sharing with your friends.